I love the design of Paypixl.
Thank you.
Just the logo in and of itself is amazing. Is on staff designer? Is it a freelance designer?
So Andy, big shout outs and props to Andy Gugu. He is a designer in Italy, and we've become very close friends over this process. He's still a contract, but I issued him options today, so I gave him a little skin in the game because he's done such a tremendous job for me, and he does amazing output of quality. So, yeah, Andy, he's on our team, he's on our deck, and he's doing work for me right now.
Those Italians have a taste for design in general, don't they?
So the Paypixl logo was made by another Italian, funny enough.
Hmm.
So Italian design.
Funny you should mention.
Funny you should mention that.
So Emily, you're new to the team. How did you two meet, and what's your role with Paypixl?
Well, Bobby and I met because my boyfriend is part of his internal dev team. And
Okay.
so we had lunch one afternoon, and I told Bobby that I'm doing school, but I would really love to join his team and help him out in any way I could, because I heard him out, love the idea. There's nothing like it out right now, and I want to help him grow Paypixl. And so then couple days later, maybe not even that, I heard back from Bobby saying, let's give this a go. Got the contract in my email, signed it, did everything super quick, joined the team.
And what exactly are you doing?
I am a user engagement manager. So Bobby and I are just putting feelers out there in the social media world, trying to raise brand awareness and get pre-registered users.
It looks like
Wow.
user engagement has been dramatically increasing the past month or two. Is that correct?
It absolutely has. And that's
So
thanks to
somebody's-
Bobby.
Oh yeah.
Is it what? Is
She's-
it Bobby or
she's
is it
humble.
you? I mean, yeah, real humble.
Is Bobby the user engagement manager?
I started doing a little ad promo with the small marketing budget that I had. And then from there, Bobby had greater ideas, and we re-geared everything. And now that has been causing the most positive impact.
No, we did this together.
What?
Yeah, we
What-
did.
Did we
It is
did we
together.
talk about what Paypixl is to begin with? Like, what is?
Okay, Emily, you're up.
Oh.
Yeah, if I was
So-
pre-registering, what would I get?
Paypixl is a free app for drone pilots. There's nothing out like it right now. Pilots usually use Google Drive and email or thumb drives or any other form of delivery out there, and it's inefficient. So what Bobby created, because he was a drone pilot himself and in the Navy, am I right?
Yeah.
Was he saw obsolescence in the field, and so what he started developing was an app for drone pilots, where each pilot would build their business profiles within the app and put out their demo reels, their images, and everything in order to attract customers, and then deliver all those files easily and efficiently within the app itself, and not have to use so many apps at once, which causes a lot of turmoil, a lot of friction, and a lot of time inefficiency.
So you just say it's like a stop
One-stop
shop
shop.
for data, paying for it, like a hub for everything.
Exactly. There will be a chat function in there. For the minimal viable product, for the MVP, it's going to be images and video, but later on, I'm sure we're going to incorporate 3D imaging, orthomosaic, just a whole bunch of stuff. Lance approvals. I don't know what else Bobby wants me to say. There's so many
Well,
apps that
let
a drone pilot
let's go here,
uses.
Emily.
Go ahead.
Already, it sounds better coming from you than it does from Bobby, for the record. All right, let's
I've
just
been
start
groomed
there.
by Bobby.
I hide behind Emily these days.
Smart, smart.
See? Yeah.
Until the bullets start flying, then move out of the way. I don't know.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, we
So with Paypixl, pre-register now. That's your first call to action. What's pre-registration get you, and what's the timeline looking for the execution on that?
I'll take that. To recap, kind of what we're building is Spotify plus Dropbox for pilots. It's a marketplace for them. So, as Emily mentioned, Paypixl is free to use for pilots, and when they deliver their images, when they deliver their projects, which may have multiple assets in them, to their customer, when their customer pays for that order, that transaction fee that's taken from the customer pays for the whole transaction. So that's how we generate revenue. The customer pays for it, the pilot doesn't. So the pilot essentially gets to keep what he or she put out there for price. Yeah. So the pre-registration is really for people who want to be first notified as soon as the platform is available for alpha users and beta users. So they'll be going through, even before the minimum viable product is launched, you'll be able to set up a profile, play with images, move them around, and then start to get in to see like that version 1. And we're asking people to give as much feedback as they can to help us iterate and make a better product. So they just want to be, right off the bat, they want to know what's going on.
Sure. Wow.
It looks like July. I don't have it pulled up. I thought I did. 700 users in July. Is that?
No. Oh wait, are you talking about July
For
next month?
pre-registered,
So what we're doing right now is from last month. It was an easy month to pass up, but we've 7x last month's registrations. So we had 21 in May. We have 150 projected to be in June alone, and I want to say it's like 270. I can look real quick. The 241 total pre-registered users, and right now we're averaging 5 a day. So five a day, and the goal is Emily and I will be working on this next month. Now that we started the campaign, we've created an invisible list of people who have engaged with our ads. So people who have engaged and may have clicked but didn't necessarily register, we have those people now we can start targeting. And now we're creating different segments of that crowd that we're marketing to. And we can zero in on who we're speaking to and what our message is to them. And we can change our strategy with those people. So it might not be brand awareness. Now it's actually engagement, or we want them to visit the website again. We want them to come back, and we want to catch them. Ultimately, we want to find out why those users aren't pre-registering if they are. So, and the big thing, what we're doing is when a user pre-registers, they immediately get a notification, an email saying, hey, we want to talk to you. We want to interview with you. And 10% of the users that sign up actually go ahead and they schedule an interview with us. And Emily and I will talk to that pilot, and we'll go through and we'll validate assumptions. We don't talk about Paypixl. We don't sell it to them at all. We just talk about their pain points. We learn that pilot, and we let them speak openly about their problems. And there's a lot of discovery in that process. So we use those bits of information from the pilots to rework our messaging each time. So it's just this iterative process to resonate with pilots more clearly when we put out our marketing ads.
That's pretty impressive. It looks like June 13th, you only had 204, and then you've gone up 10 in just a few days, in a week or so. And the only reason why I know this is because I get the emails, because I believe in you, brother, and I'm an investor. So
thank you. And thank you for that. So yeah, thanks for not letting me sleep at night, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I stay up late. I got someone to call. I got to call somebody.
I love it.
So hold on. So I want to get back to a timeline for Paypixl, but before that, Brandon invested his hard-earned money into your company, and I'm curious from Brandon's perspective, the why.
hard earned is subjective. Uh, that being said, yeah, I own a business that kind of invests in aviation technologies. I know Bobby well. We go way back. We used to fly together. We went on a TDY or two, time or two, so we were air crew. And I'm one of those people that's all about investing in the jockey, not the horse. So he's got a lot of passion for what he's doing. I kind of like what he's doing. I like the space. I like the fact that we're getting into the next evolution of aviation when we start talking about drones. So that's exciting for the people that I support, that support me in the space as far as investing and holdings company. They like that. They think it's sexy. They like the fact that there's drones involved. I think they like it's a video game or something. I don't know, but they really love what's happening. So I have to explain to them, no, there's more to it than that. They don't care. They're not aviators. So yeah, there's a lot that has to do with who Bobby is and our relationship. And I think that's what business is really all about, right? About relationships. And kind of went forward, wanted to put my money where the mouth was. And wait a minute, where was my mouth? I don't know. I was talking a lot of crap, but we made a go of it.
From that investor founder relationship perspective, when you're making decisions, Bobby and Emily, how much of that process is divided up between, is the investor going to like this idea, or is this a good idea, or both, right? Because at some point they're going to want their money back, but if you don't build a business right, they might not get their money back, right? So it's sometimes it can be a catch-22, and I ask these questions, as we've talked a lot, and I can relate to a lot of the startup founder struggles that you guys are going into, and I believe that some of our listeners are in the same founder category, dealing with the same struggles. So that's kind of why I asked that question.
Yeah, to answer that question as quickly as I can without going on and on, the founder runs the business, right? The founder is the one that takes the responsibility and the reins to do the right thing, and that is making sure the product moves forward. It's more, for me, I'm focused on what the users want, what the users need, and the problem. The investors believe in me, they have faith in me, so they invest in me, and it's up to me to execute on that. Not all investors are good operators. Not saying Brandon is not. I'm just saying in general. There are investors that are excellent operators, and we've actually have one on our advisor board. We have another friends and family investor who flew down to talk with me about my model and actually opened up my eyes to something pretty major as we go into this round. So while I take the responsibility for the execution and driving forward and doing the next right thing to increase our valuation, I also am open to taking input, and I'm open-minded in what my investors have to tell me. So my friends and family investors that I have, ranging from no experience in business whatsoever to very high acuity, I'll listen to the range, and any one of those people might say something important to me.
I think you kind of nailed it, though, with the first thing you said in response to that question is, I'm trying to solve the problem that the users want. You take care of that issue, everything else takes care of itself, and
I have been in companies in the corporate world where we try to tweak our investor updates to make sure the investors are happy, that they keep coming back and they keep giving us their money. And I hated that. It's not fun. I'm honest. And if we have a lack of progression in a month, you're going to know it. If it's raw, it's real, especially at the startup stage. There's nowhere to hide.
And I can tell you from our perspective as an investor, it's appreciated. Transparency is huge. We don't. If the ship is going down, at least let us know so we can jump off at the right time. Or at least know that we're going down with it. But that's part of it. and your transparency has been really, really good. So we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you utilize social media extremely well. I gotta say, you never wonder what's on Bobby's mind.
I don't know if
Emily.
that's well.
Sometimes I wish I didn't know. I gotta tell you,
He's like
I love it.
Elon
Now,
Musk on Twitter.
Emily, on the other hand, you seem to be a ghost on social media, by all accounts.
Have you checked?
trying to find you.
Oh well, it's because I'm private. I've got my profile set to private, but
Yeah.
I'm on the Paypixl Instagram and Facebook and Twitter pages all the time. Just
Yep.
watching
Executing
what Bobby
well there,
does,
I see. Yep.
absorbing what he does, so I can take what he wants Paypixl to be and keep incorporating that into our message. But as far as my personal ones, they're private, but I can set them to public.
No,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I don't.
I'm just a
No.
normal. I love roller skating. That's what I do.
I was gonna say roller skater, vet, and getting your master's in engineering at University of Florida. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow. What kind of
And
engineering?
Industrial and systems engineering.
She was a jet troop, guys. So
Yeah,
former
I was a
aircraft
tech
mechanic.
Get
A
out,
grease
really?
monkey.
A grease monkey. That's awesome. Good. I got a plane for you to fix.
Oh God, yes. I miss
Guys,
it.
let me tell you, just to speak to Emily for a second. It's really cool to have somebody in your ranks where you can shut the door, you can go eye to eye, and you can talk the same language. That gets tactical, right? Where you need to say what you need to say, and you don't have to worry about how you say it. That's Emily. So
Yeah.
I'm not. If I can help it, I'm not letting her go anywhere. She's been awesome.
Thanks.
You
And
need
I
that
need it.
sounding board.
I absolutely do. She's not afraid to tell me what she thinks. So
That's great.
It's definitely very motivating, especially because the military is not an easy place to grow your own mind and be independent. So until once you're out, as a veteran.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I tell
Bobby's
people,
open.
Yeah, where you're at, especially where you're at as far as where you are in your life, age, the things that you've acquired as far as knowledge wise, your health, like everything kind of comes to a head around, 35, and you look like you're 25, but 35, somewhere in there. And we waste it, I think, on the military. I think. And those are guys that want to stay in and make a career of it. Great, do that. But those that have vision elsewhere, use the military as a stepping stone, get out, and then do stuff like this that really changes the world.
Yeah.
Getting back to Paypixl, the real reason you guys are here, we got pre-registered users, which are your drone operators, right? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? What does your game plan and roadmap look like to convert those pre-registered users? I guess I don't know if they're not your customers, right? The individual that's looking to purchase the photography is probably your customer.
So, it's funny you mentioned that. Today I did a blog post. It's my second post on Medium ever, and it's my first post in like 2 years. But it explains from my perspective, from my words and my voice, what we're doing with the marketplace. And the title of it is How to Launch, or is it, let me see. I got it right here. Launching a marketplace and not dying out by not launching with a marketplace. And so... So let's talk to that for 1 second, okay? So or a little longer. Marketplaces in the pre-seed with first-time founders is a disaster waiting to happen. When I envisioned this company back in 2018, this whole concept, I didn't realize that it was a marketplace that I was building, but I was. So the concept was, on-demand drone imagery orders, so customers could order where pilots were, pilots could fulfill the order, and everything was happy. And in a bubble, in a vacuum, that sounds great. So, and we would automate the process. We had a really cool, nerdy explanation for how we would do it, and we would get drone pilots to go fly for us. And the problem is, as I go along, I realize, okay, so this is a marketplace. Now I learned what a marketplace is a couple of years too late. Okay, the biggest problem we have is supply and demand. If we don't have order, and I think I might have said this in the last podcast, but We don't have orders where pilots are. The pilots are going to drop the app and go away. It's called churn. And the other way, if we aren't fulfilling orders for the customer is going to go away. They're going to be unhappy. So how do we solve for that? And my answer to that was just recently, and thanks, and I got to give credit to one of my investors, Joe, who came down and spoke to me. He made it clear how he's listening to me as an angel is important. Segue here, and one thing that I've learned recently, when you're talking to angels and when you're talking to VC, there's a difference. Angels want to know that you're not going to burn their money up in that, before the next round, and they want to know what you're doing tactically in the short term. VC want to know what you're going to do in this like long-term span. How are they going to 10x or 100x their money or 1,000x their money? So they want to know how you're going to be a billion-dollar company. And the angels generally don't want to hear that. They want to hear like how you're going to go and how you're going to operate. So one of the things he said to me is like, you got to stop talking about the marketplace because you're not going to get funded. And he was right. So this blog that I wrote today, it shows the marketplace model that we have. And it's this like spaghetti monster of a model. And it's huge and it's super involved.
It's beautiful.
It was something. But that's what we were envisioning. It took me 3 years to be able to write that on the board. And now I'm like, okay, time out. So we can't go to market with this. We're not going to get funded. We're not going to be successful. There's a very small window of success to do that. So we changed the model. What did we become? We became a platform. What's the difference? So a platform is a service that enables a transaction between two parties. So in this case, it enables pilots to send deliverables to their customer, which is like Shopify. Shopify is a platform model. We incorporate Dropbox in there because the files are large, and in order to send those, there needs to be a cloud-based file management system involved with that. So we've removed the marketplace. The difference between the two is this. With the marketplace, we were going to have to find customers to come in and order, and we would have to find pilots to get to be part of our network and fulfill those images. That was the marketplace. And then it would be new customers looking for new pilots and pilots fulfilling orders for new customers they never met. The platform model is different. We now enable, we make the pilots the hunters, and we enable them with the tools they need to go bring the meat home. We give them a really cool platform that's an alternative to what they've got right now, which is 5 to 6 different apps that they're using to fulfill customer orders. It's all in one now. And now they can get paid very quickly by their customer. So they send their files to their existing customers. That's it. It's that simple. So they send when the customer takes the imagery, they log in, they create an account if they don't already have one, they accept the images, and then they have those images stored forever in their account. What we're doing in that case is we're now collecting the data on those customers. And in a year, 2 years, as we've got brand recognition, we have our own self-sustaining model on a platform, and we can stand up on our own 2 feet. And we've now gotten to the point where we've really iterated the model or iterated the app, and it looks amazing. Now we could say, hey, guess what? Now we have all this information on the customer side. We know what they buy, where they buy. We know all their purchasing habits. We know who they are, what industries they're in. We can segment them from our own data. It's no longer guessing. So when we want to flip the switch on the marketplace, that's what we do. And that we can't shoot our shot all at once. So I'm trying to wait for that for the Series A or the Series B even to say this is our story for the raise. We want to become a marketplace. We've got 2 years or 1 year of really strong growth, and now we're going to raise $30 million to launch the marketplace. Launching with that capital is so much better than launching with 1.5 million and trying to do the same thing. So I would rather stagnate, wait down the road, and then this just makes our valuation goes bigger and bigger. And the other thing is the street cred too. Is you have street cred when you go into that. You have traction to show them. You have investors calling you rather than you calling them and begging and them being ghosted. They're trying to get in line with you. So that's where we're going. It just wasn't going to work, and that's how we fixed it.
So let me ask you this, back to the investor side and the founder side. When you're talking about that $30 million, what kind of ownership stake does Bobby have at that point in time? And I know you don't know the exact number, but I just think, from my perspective, and where I've gone, numbers like that terrify me.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I like it. So, I mean, let's be real. If you're going to get to that point in your life, the only way you got there is from venture capital, unless you bootstrapped an amazing idea. But if you got to do it with venture capital, they enable you to do what you need to get done, and they are the impetus to your success. So when you're talking about a larger pie, yeah, you're going to be diluted. Your slice is going to be smaller and smaller and smaller, but this is a smaller slice of a huge pie. So that's okay with me. So if you're talking about like an exit, say we did like a Series C, shooting from the hip, I might have 45, 40, 35% of the company, depending on how I raised, and how much money I took in the beginning, where I have over 80 now, So there's a big difference. There's a lot of dilution there, but my pie is, if I sold the company today, I would be going right back to work. If I sold the company then, I can turn around and do my ambitious goals of being an angel investor alongside Brandon, and finding the next company and then mentoring startups and not having to work. So easy answer for me.
Sure. And that's actually a really concise answer. That's a pretty good one.
Thanks.
I've
never been concise before, so that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, well.
That leads me to, you have ADHD and Tourette's.
Clearly.
Has that been diagnosed, or is that self-diagnosed?
The ADHD has been diagnosed.
Okay.
Well, that's what made you a really good mechanic and crew chief to go out with. Love that.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
for a guy like me, I don't know.
So yeah, that would end up being like we're in flight and the co-pilot MFD went out and they're like, "Oh, what happened?" And I go up there and I shut everything down on the co-pilot side and they freak out in flight, which has happened. No, I won't call anybody out, Peaches, but
I love that guy.
Pete Olson is a great man. Yeah, but that was a fun trip. Yeah, no, ADHD. I did. Yeah, we're good. Of course, I'd fix it. So yeah, but ADHD is it's awesome and it sucks at the same time. I'm harnessing it. It's good to go. There's a lot of there's a lot of whack-a-mole going on as a founder, and
that's what I was gonna say. It almost seems like that could be a blessing as much, if not more, than a curse.
Absolutely.
From a founder's perspective.
You want to know the fastest way to fail is be ADHD as a founder and do it alone. That's exactly why Emily is where she's at. She is a compliment to me, and she overlaps that.
That was my next statement. You get a good team around you to help compartmentalize and take over the different compartments of that, and you can take those ADHD issues to the stars, so to speak.
Yeah. The Tourette's, I'm
That's
still
one of those
figuring that
things.
out.
I think we all have a little bit of Tourette's. So I was just going to say, I know it's a true illness out there, but we all tend to have a little bit of the verbal Tourette's, we'll call it.
Yeah, still working through that one. There's times where I'm like, okay, don't say it. And then next thing you know, I'm telling people that I'm actually offended by what they say in the cockpit.
Hey, honestly, reactions are the spice of life.
They really are.
I'm pretty confident I can speak for myself and Brandon that our joy comes from getting reactions from inappropriate statements often.
Without question.
I love your social media, Bobby.
That's cool because I'm banned from Facebook right now. So,
well, and that's what I was gonna say. I found it ironic looking at your Twitter that you said that Facebook is a major threat to democracy, and you posted that on Twitter.
Yep. I'll say it. I'll own it. Yeah, man. It was really funny. So my wife will tell you, she would love to jump in on this one, but she's not here, so I'll just speak for her. For years, she's been like, Bobby, please don't, for your future, you'll pay for this. And I have said some terrible things in the past, and I'm heartless. You're a combat vet. Well, you're going to be callous to people. Your humor is dark. You're a terrible person by normal standards. But, whatever it is, what it is. So, but I have grown better over time, and I have been happier, and I have been more humbled. And the best part is none of that stuff in the past got me. What got me my first 3-day suspension was talking to a very good friend of mine who I'm going to a joint family vacation in July to Orlando with their kids and my kids. We're really close. And the first thing he says was, he goes, he was like, I'm going to report your ads as spam. And I said, I'll kill you where you stand. It was totally banter. And within an hour, I got the 3-day suspension. And I tried to fight it, and they're like, nope, it sticks. It's like, okay. So Judge Zuckerberg down with a hammer. Mind you, and I'll say it again, but this is the same guy who had people work for his company for several years and then axed them without giving them any equity in their company. So Mr. Morality is going to be the moral police now, which I love. This is fantastic, right? So, but moving on, the second one was the same guy, Ron, goes, oh man, when can we? And he's doing exactly to me what the pilots are doing to you in the cockpit, right? He's like, I have this beautiful Raven Spatial sign that was made by a friend of mine. We renamed Raven Spatial at Paypixl. So Raven Spatial is obsolete now. It's a memory, and it's a great part of my life, but it's going away. So I took that off the wall and I said, well, next chapter. And he goes, when can we burn the Raven Spatial sign? And I said, I'll burn your face. And as fast as I posted that, immediately I got a 3-day suspension on that. And I was like, oh, come on, are you serious? Like, it's banter, right?
Wow.
So I got 6 days on that. And then next thing you know, they go back to a photo in 2018. Everyone knows the circle game in the military. We all know the rules. We all know the rules. Apparently, somewhere along the way, somebody said that means white power. I would never throw that symbol, nor do I believe in it. I think it's retarded. I said the hard R. Sorry, people. Bad word. But I don't believe in that. So they flagged that as violence and bullying and racism.
Wow.
And now I can imagine what kind of attributes they're putting on me in their back end. I know user management, so now I'm this terrible person in the Facebook database, and they're just trying to find things now to pull me out, and I'm not even posting them. So last of it was this video that I posted, which was a totally neutral viewpoint of protesters on both sides arguing counterpoints, and it was really funny, and they're going at it. And then at the end, it's the government and the media sitting in a room. They're like, these fucking idiots. And it's true, right? So it wasn't far left or far right. It was just like a look at ourselves. Like, we're ridiculous for doing what we're doing right now. And that got me the final ban. Too. Heaven forbid. So, so
I remember seeing almost every one of those posts that you're discussing right now. Yep. And I also have watched you on social media for years. And while I know how you feel about certain politicians, your overall political viewpoint is very middle of the road. And you equally piss off Democrats and Republicans. And you equally give props to both sides, too, when it's due. So, getting that long-term,
suspension
profile on you, right? You are not on either end to where, I'm shocked that, that
Are you
the
really
ban
shocked,
came
though?
down.
I mean, where
well,
we're
no,
at
I'm
now.
not shocked.
You know what I mean?
And that's honestly, that's kind of why I was like, the irony of him posting that on Twitter, and all the shadow banning that's going on, it's just like, it's interesting to see where we're at.
Bobby's gonna become a great founder, and just like Elon Musk. Elon Musk writes all these.
Me.
Ooh, are you gonna smoke weed on the Joe Rogan podcast?
No, I thought we were doing that now. I'll just put this out.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Whoops.
Oops. She's exactly right, and that gives you the freedom to do what it is that you want to do, and not have to worry about these folks and their opinions, and they're not wanting you to have an opinion or be able to speak about things on their platform or to them or to anybody on their platform and try to censor you. That's not what the whole thing was about. This experiment we have going on here in the United States. It's interesting where we're at, where we do that to good folks just for having an opinion, or in this case, just for having banter back and forth, having a great relationship with your buddy, and you just busting each other's chops. If a microphone followed us around as air crew and as military members, we do these things to and all four of us have been there, have we not? All four of us have been deployed. All four of us have been in situations where we needed to let off steam and we something to each other that just got it out. And was it appropriate? Probably not.
No.
Would somebody get offended? Probably. Yeah, you can't say anything now without offending somebody. So, but was that the point? No, we're not trying to offend each other. We're busting each other's chops. We're it's that banter. It's the way to get this tension that we have for going into war zones off the back. And for those that don't understand that, it's, you know.
I feel like we are on the double black diamond slippery slope downhill right now. So buckle up.
Yeah, and there's rocks at the end.
Everywhere.
There's sharp.
Everywhere.
You know.
Everywhere.
So it's
people are going to be hurt. Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but and here's the thing. I understand, I guess, where the other side comes from, and that's, again, as war fighters as we are, that's one of the things that we have the benefit of seeing, being in a position where we fight for both sides. We were willing to sacrifice ourselves for both sides.
Yep.
And these folks that are making policy, MENA, and these folks that have these opinions and that are banning people, they didn't do that. And I'm not trying to toot the horn of the military, even though I am. I think, if anything, we're the only ones that should be able to judge what people say and don't say. And we're the ones that don't care.
Yep.
I'll get off my soapbox.
No, you're good.
Well said.
No, that was very well said.
Do you think the pendulum swings the opposite direction after everyone gets sick of the whole cancel culture side of the house? Because none
It's
of us are
happening already.
innocent on anything. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's said or done something stupid. So,
Sure. And that's, a lot of that stuff is in hindsight. At the time, it wasn't stupid. At the time, it was probably appropriate. A lot of it is someone, 3, 5, 10 years later going back and going, hey, you did this, or, and you see what's happening now. Those that were raising such a stink and trying to cancel people are now getting canceled by cancel. It's the most bizarre place. It's nuts. So what's the end? What's the end game here?
Well, when you dictate rules on emotion and fallacy, it's a house of cards that you've built. So, but we see that, and for the people that see it, I think the majority of America sees it. The majority of America is silent, and I'd say even apathetic for the most part.
Yeah.
But you see the extreme left and the extreme right like battling it out and making it tough for everybody just because they have their own opinions.
Sure.
And then when you start affecting the moderate middle, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on now.
It's coming. Yeah, it's starting to happen now, and people aren't liking it. But how do you think any of that? So getting back to your business and where you're at, you think any of that has affected where you are, not being able to use Facebook?
It actually has. So, sorry, Emily, I feel like I'm taking all your responses, but it's kind of tailored. So, it did actually. I can't engage with people commenting on my business page, because I'll log in from a business and I'll try to engage a customer, and I can't do it. Now, mind you, I didn't do anything like egregious to go get kicked off. This is an AI algorithm that picked my speech out, took it out of context, and automatically blocked me. Well, the average Facebook user can't fight that. They try it one time, and then a person goes in and they say, oh, nope, that's good. We're going to keep that banned. And then they move on. If it's even a person that does that, Wow. So I had one reprieve, and that was, we spent almost $900 on ads in June. So I went to the business center and I was able to get through to them. And I said, hey, I've got a problem. I can't engage. This is my story. I need help. So they go, oh, we'll take a look at it, but it's going to take about 5 days to do it, which was the length of my jail from Facebook. So I'm like, oh, I appreciate it. Well, thanks. Well, I told them too, I said, moving forward, it's not just this time, but it is a big deal. And right now I can imagine, and this is the conversation I have with them, I can imagine that I'm flagged in your system with attributes that are misattributed. And that's a bad problem. I'm spending on your platform. I need somebody that's human to review these and realize that they're taken out of context and remove those flags manually if that's at all possible. Because if this continues to happen, I'm no longer, spending on your platform. And it's not
Absolutely.
just at $800 now, it's going to be 800,000 or 8 million in 2027 or 2028. You don't know what that's going to be or what that's going to cost. So it's kind of the butterfly effect. But screw me over now, I'm going to find another platform to use. And it's if I make that, it's not a threat, but if I say that now to them, they're like, we don't care. We make we make so much money.
It's not a threat. It's out of necessity, and you will. You'll find a way to make something. And that's the great thing about being an entrepreneur. You guys figure things out. If where there's a barrier, you'll find a way under, around, over, through, and that's the excitement of it. Even though it kind of hurts right now. So yeah, there's no doubt. Man, that's tough.
Have you spent any money on LinkedIn?
No. With reason. I mean,
the organic reach is pretty impressive on LinkedIn, to be quite honest.
It is.
Yeah, LinkedIn is not so bad. We've been working, and Emily can speak to that too, but we've been working with, custom audiences. The thing that I worry about LinkedIn is there are specific crowds that you can go for with LinkedIn and not. Where does your crowd hang out? Where do your users hang out generally? And our answer is Facebook primarily. Yeah. Because LinkedIn, and the reason why they're so active is because that's where their marketplace is. That's where they get more customers. They don't get them from LinkedIn per se.
Mm-hmm.
So
you think your customer base or the pilots are on Facebook or both?
Corporate B2B side, they're on LinkedIn, but in a limited capacity. They don't generally do business from LinkedIn. I feel like LinkedIn is like the I love me wall of social media. It's true. I mean, we're very limited in our engagement on there. So I don't want to shit talk them, but it's very controlled and limited what you put on there. Twitter is a wild west. And then Facebook Facebook is more like family, friends oriented, associates oriented, but it's more personal. And then I feel like there's a lot more business on there, and they have marketplace to enable that too.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting. So as far as your model's concerned, that platform speaks to that model better.
It does.
Instagram may not necessarily. I guess they're the same, Facebook and Instagram.
So Emily's the IG pro. I loathe IG, and thankfully she's there.
There are so many people, drone pilots on Instagram, and so I've tried to reach out. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of other influencers, no matter what business they're in. They help other people grow their business, right? So what these influencers say is that, the Instagram algorithm changes ever so often. So you have to change with it and keep adapting. And how do you do that if you're starting a business? Well, you go into other drone pilots who are really huge influencers, right? And try to find the people that they're engaging with, because you have a product that may help them. So
Sure.
Then you go into those, and I've been commenting on pilots' pictures and their aerial photography and videography, and really trying to build a rapport, and genuinely, because the projects that they put out there, the files, everything is incredibly amazing. And so we have been getting a little word of mouth from that too, which is great. We just need to keep building up.
One of the things Emily did was she engaged with this, I think it's Drone Globe on Instagram. They got it was 600,000 or 800,000
600K?
followers.
Yeah.
And so one night I reached out to that guy and I was like, what do you do? Who sponsors you? I got to know, because you post pictures every day. You're always on content. And he wrote back. And he's like, nobody sponsors me. It's just a passion. I was like, okay. Would you be interested in paid advertisements or maybe sharing some of our messaging across? And he's like, yeah, if it's anything to do with drones, I'd love to. I told him what we do, and so that was an easy, low-hanging fruit for us with a lot of viewers. So thank you, Emily. Things like that are important.
There's many
Nice.
like him that we still have to keep reaching out to and see if we can build that rapport.
And that was from Instagram.
That was from Instagram.
Wow. That's great.
I mean,
Thank you, Emily, for that.
Yeah, you think about what's a better platform for imagery, you know? I mean, it's perfect for it.
Yep.
So, you had an interesting post on March 5th.
I feel like I'm in an interrogation room.
Uh-oh.
I'm sweating.
Your team is part-time. Can't afford a full-time team because you can't raise. And I'm ad-libbing here. You can't raise because there's no traction. And there's no traction because it's not built. We're now June, end of June. I'm guessing that's around the time that Paypixl made its transition. And that's a statement of frustration. You've made a lot of positive posts since then. But can you kind of talk about how you were feeling then and how you're feeling now?
Sure. Yeah, that is the founder's conundrum. Is they need the capital, they can't get the capital, and that's almost everybody. Very few people can actually get funded and move forward. Single percentages, I think, of companies actually get funded and move on to the next round. So it was back then. We had a challenge on our hands of we had the concept, but you can't sell a concept to a lot of people. You know, fortunately, there's some really good investors out there that listen to you early on and they bet on the jockey, Brandon. Thank you. And people like Brandon, you know, believing in me got us to this point. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would be here right now. I think I'd be working somewhere else. So that was critical for me. And, you know, so at the time it was frustrating because we couldn't afford to build out this, MVP even with the developers that I had at the point. It's just problems. There's barriers that you had there. And when you have limited access to capital, the barriers are really high and they're plentiful. And you got to, like you said, you got to figure out a way around them. If there's a barrier in the way, you got to use your wits to get around them. Fortunately for me, luck helped me out and a little bit of serendipity. I found Emily later on. I found Andy a little earlier on. And what I did was I said, okay, I have X amount of capital and we aren't going to be able to build the MVP and we aren't going to be able to develop it and make it functional. So we'll either burn out trying to build something, or what we can do is we can get the story to the point where we can sell it and we can show it to both users and to investors. And that's the route that we need to go. Andy's an exceptional designer, so it was like a gift from God. So what we did was we created a UI UX prototype, and we can walk through that now. So if an investor wants to come from the 50,000 foot level to the 300 foot level, we can actually walk through a demo with them that's almost appears functional, but it's not. And we show them what our vision is, and they don't have to use so much imagination. We do the same thing with pilots, and now we have this beautiful website that people can go through, and we can use that to convert. So the difference there was, okay, we got to move forward. We got to figure out a strategy to spend a limited amount of capital. The last raise I did wasn't huge, and then when you bring in team members and they're charging you X amount for per hour we're trying to build, you find out really quickly that you don't have a lot of mistake room. So that there's some strategy in that. Now where we're at, we have the UI UX completed, like I said before. We are able to show that to investors and users. The users love the idea, and we have a system in place that starts automating people signing up and talking to us in interviews. So I'm very positive. I'm actually very, very confident that we're going to close this round quickly, the pre-seed where we're raising $650K. And then we go on. So that's going to afford us to get through to the seed stage where we're post-revenue. We have metrics, and we can go and show the later stage VC, the seed to Series A guys, and say, okay, yeah, this is what we're trying to raise, and we raise the next amount. So That's it. I said Emily coming on was a huge part too. One of the major tenets of proving traction is user growth. She needed to be here, and she's been phenomenal in doing that role.
That's great. It's about the team. That's amazing.
100%.
What does your day look like from an operations perspective? What do you see yourself spending the most time on now that Emily took over the user engagement portion?
Messaging. So Emily, and she can speak to this too, but Emily and I both are going, like right now we're learning together. I still want to be at the point where I understand what she's talking about, and since we're being put in front of these people, we have advisors. My sister's a VP of a marketing company who does surveys professionally. She's been doing that for almost 25 years. So we have really great access to people who can help us out. We'll sit in the room together, and then we'll strategize voice and message and strategy all the way down to tactics. And then I hand that off to her, and she does the operational side of launching the campaigns, of posting, and she'll be posting all night long. So for me, it's messaging, it's talking to investors, it's setting things up that way, looking for potential partners, and just constantly trying to build that out. Lately, in the last 3 months, I've been focused solely on the UI UX, and then working out the statement of work so we can give a really nice, concise statement to the development team when we're ready to execute.
And Emily, you said your boyfriend's on the dev team. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's can you come over right now?
Is he in the room? Absolutely. Get on over here. Only if he's cute. Is he cute?
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, he's
up,
cute.
He is cute. Is he as cute as mine? Not as cute as mine.
Nice. No, sorry, Eric.
Oh, sorry.
No?
Lost.
So,
Everyone.
Eric,
I'm
that
not
your name, Eric?
too in touch with activities in terms of social interactions. I'm more of like a code monkey, but I could give any explanation or my take on the application and where it feels in the marketplace.
You so you're on the back end, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a back end developer. I do have some full stack experience, but I'm mostly back end. Correct.
How has it been working with his Italian design team? I'm sure when you get designs like that coming in, from your perspective, does it provide like a level of excitement because you can kind of see what your ones and zeros could turn into, or are you agnostic on that type of thing?
There's always a cool factor when you're receiving UI designs, and you kind of get to see what the screens look like. But as soon as you do, your mind already starts heading into the interface and what the backend is going to look like. How buttons are going to trace and the routes that are going to take, and then you start to also start seeing the obstacles ahead as well. But yeah, sure. As soon as I see like a cool button, it's definitely something that excites me.
I can only imagine how the developers felt when they first started working with me back in the day on my project, because I had wireframes that were garbage, and their heads probably about exploded trying to figure out how they're going to communicate with me.
Hey, some developers are front end, some are not. So
Yeah. Yep. How long you been with the team?
Bobby, how long have I been putting up with you?
I'd say it was back in I think October. No, I think December is when you started investing.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that all? Wait till you start getting years with this guy.
Yeah. I will say, the one thing, Tyler, that you mentioned when I showed, we have another senior engineer on the team who shall remain nameless per his request with his current employment situation. But I showed him the UI, and he was equally excited, and he was like, holy crap, but that's a lot of coding. So he's like, that's a lot of buttons. That's a lot of endpoints on the API. Dude, this is going to take a lot longer than I thought. But he's like, it's beautiful, and it looks really good. I can see it now. It's mature in my mind now where it wasn't before this. this is really cool and it motivates me. However, your dollar amount to produce this just went like, so double-edged sword.
For sure.
Eric, do you feel like, from your experience, and I know that if I was to ask my developer, he would have a very crystal clear response for me. Sometimes idea guys like me and Bobby try to, quote unquote, boil the ocean too early. And I don't know anything. I don't know if that's Bobby, what he did. I was constantly fighting myself not to do that, and try to focus on one thing at a time. How has that process been working with Bobby and dealing with this ADHD? Has that how's that conversation go? Or has he pretty much, you guys have been on the same page the whole time? I see Bobby smirking over here. So
Yes,
I'm really
Eric,
curious
how
what
did
your
that
response is.
conversation go?
Yeah, well, we don't necessarily we're not always on the same page. Bobby is a visionary. I'm more of a practical and type of guy, and it's just because of, you know, my career and what I do for a living. But every time, sure, I've been talking to Bobby, and he has these visions. Sometimes I got to bring him down to a realistic level and implementation level and say, well, how are we going to do this? And I'm also trying to put in my 2 cents and be the devil's advocate, and try to come up with implementation obstacles, and let Bobby know that the application does have its area for success. I do like the Airbnb model, or the peer-to-peer type of platform.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are out there to abuse startups, abuse all these types of services. You have to make sure you guard the application correctly. But none of the conversations we've had has resulted in a non-constructive conversation between us. Everything that we've discussed has always had a step forward and action items for us to take.
Well, that's good. I think it's a testament to that yin and yang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And-
I can't afford Eric as a co-founder, but my God, he's good co-founder material. He just doesn't know it yet.
I don't know
He's playing it safe. He's got a really cush job, and he's doing well. But when he's in the room and he's playing devil's advocate and with his tech background, oh my God, I tell him all the time too. I'm like, dude, anytime you want to come on, you just let me know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And, Bobby, and it seems like you do, I would definitely value that perspective, that pushback. So I
100%.
know that relationship is a common one between the co-founder and the developer.
There's
my
also
situation-
pushback the other way too. So
Sure.
sometimes
Yep.
I'm a little too practical, and it works both ways as well.
Yep.
Yeah, like I think one of the conversations that we had recently was, and so, Brandon, close your ears. But, it's where we're sitting in the room and we're sitting there like, I expect you to nitpick, Eric, and I'm talking to you. I expect you to nitpick when I throw out an idea. And you go, no, this is why I challenged that thought. Like, this isn't going to work. And we can sit there and we can go all the way down in resolution and like nitpick the details. But at the same time, like I've got to pull it back and scale out and say, look, we can nitpick everything from legal to development. The thing is we got to find a way to like move forward, to like
Sure.
move instead of centimeters, we got to move miles. And when we do that at the early stage, it's ugly and nobody likes it. It's uncomfortable because there's a lot of risk. But the thing is if we sit here and we like get the finite details worked out and we've only moved 3 inches over 3 months instead of like 2 miles, then we have no opportunity to iterate because we're going to be dead in 3 months. So it's really hard to like to say that out loud, especially being married to an attorney. Hey, we got to take the risk. It's not going to be beautiful. There's going to be loopholes, and we got to like pray that people don't find them before we can cover them up and raise the capital needed to address those. But we have to record those and keep them secure in a vault so nobody knows what our weaknesses are. And then we move forward and we go back to those when the time is right. Not saying that we don't build to scale, because we do, but there's going to be massive holes in the ship.
Absolutely.
It's funny listening to that, because I can relate on so many levels, and those same struggles and the legal ones and whatever. Brandon and I could go on for hours about that, the legal side, and it's, I think about, your wife's an attorney, and I'm sure she suggests that you be way more conservative from a legal perspective than you are.
She actually gives me props. I'm not bad. It's one of my strong areas. So
Yeah, that's good. I just think if I would have spent money on legal early on, I wouldn't have a product right now. It's, and I know that we're getting to the point where we do need to spend some money on IP and whatnot. But again, I wouldn't have anything to protect if I would have spent the money on the legal side of it. So again, it's almost a chicken or the egg scenario. What's more important? Well, I've gone with the riskier perspective to say I'd rather have a product than a protection of a product that doesn't exist. So
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
but
I'm on the other
Brandon,
spectrum. I'm like, now there's something there. Let's
Yeah.
protect it.
Yep. Exactly.
yep. We were lucky,
yeah.
Tyler. You and I have talked about it, but we were lucky. We had a law firm early on say, hey, tell us what you're doing, and let's talk it out. So we told them, and they go, we're going to issue $21,000 of credits, and we're going to reduce our hourly billing by half to discount that for you while you have that account with us, and you owe us back at the end of your seed raise. So if you take all 21K, you owe us at the end of the seed, and then once you get to the seed, we'll start charging you full time. So it was a great way for them to build a relationship with us. It was a really good way for us to get legal counsel and help early on, and it's high quality. So we go through Hutchinson PLLC, and I have nothing but good things to say about Justin and his team. So
Are they local?
They're in the Carolinas, one of the two, south, north,
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, they're great.
They must have obviously seen the value in Paypixl and Raven Spatial, and obviously the value in you. But I'm guessing if they were willing to structure something like that, this isn't their first rodeo with a startup.
No, which is important. That's the only reason we went to them. I fired the attorney before them, who said they were, startup based. They were small business based, and the two are not the same.
They're not the same. Yep.
At all. Not at all.
Yep.
And if you're a startup and you're listening to this podcast, for God's sakes, call Hutchinson PLLC right now. I'll plug them. I attest to it. You get a startup funder. Yeah, get a startup focused attorney, and make sure they don't gut you. They should not be fleecing you. They should be enabling you, because if they're fleecing you, they know that you're not going to succeed, and you're going to owe them a lot of money.
Yep, well said.
Well, once you start talking laws, I'm already out. So I'll let you guys do your own thing.
He's gonna go back to sit in the corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to coding, guys.
Okay, thanks,
one.
Eric.
Pleasure meeting you.
Good
See.
meeting you, brother.
Brandon,
Was he
what else you
military
got,
too?
man?
Was the friend military also?
Oh, no. Eric was not military, but he used to work for Lockheed Martin before. And when we
Okay.
met 4 years ago, we found out that he was working on the computer systems that we would use, maintainer software, that
cool.
that I would use with my mechanics.
Oh, so it's
team
meant to
in
be.
order fix the aircraft. Yep.
It was meant to be like a match made in coding heaven.
Yep.
Awesome.
Don't lie. I've been there, Emily. At one point, you go, "Who the hell
Who
developed this?"
designed this?
Oh,
No, man, those PEDs, those tough PEDs are lifesavers.
Yeah.
Love those
That's
things.
your
They show
tough
you
book
the
that you carry out
schematics-
with?
The tough book, yeah.
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 They show you the schematics of all
Those
the
things were
jet
great. Once
parts.
you guys started carrying those, it was awesome.
Oh, so great.
I always would grab the one that was dead.
Charge them already.
Never
No,
fails.
guys, I mean, I didn't have anything else, Tyler, man. It was a great show. I love, I always love talking to you, Bobby. And then you bring
You
someone
too,
that looks
Brennan.
better than you. That's good.
Which is a hard feat, but I found a way
Hard.
to do it. Thank you, Emily.
I thought you guys were talking about Eric.
No, that's exactly what I was talking
Eric's better looking too. Yeah, for sure.
about. Eric is pretty beautiful.
He's not allowed to come on any more podcasts. It's I'm not going to be here if he's here. One of us, you
Good
have to
pull,
choose.
Emily. Good pull. Military folks always grabbing a good one.
Dang it.
Yeah. So if Eric was a chick, he would be like Air Force, right? Is that how that went?
Oh my gosh.
I think you nailed it.
I've been working for the Air Force for the past
He's been working for the
I can
Air
hear
Force
you
for
guys.
the past 14 years.
Oh, yeah? That's great.
Did any of you meet through? Is it Embark? Do you want to talk about that a little
Embark?
bit, Bobby?
Yeah. I don't know if we should even associate Embark after this conversation that we've had.
No?
Because they're going to get a hold of this and be like, oh, wait, keyword Embark. They're going to find and then they're going to listen to it and be like, we can't associate ourselves with him anymore.
Oh, boy.
It's not okay.
Well,
No, Embark. No, so Embark Collective is amazing. Real quick about Embark Collective, you have incubators and startup accelerators, and they have their own model, and a lot of them like take equity from the founders. Some you pay to get in. Why any founder would do that, I don't know. Like pay cash, pay capital, whatever. Embark Collective is a nonprofit organization that their whole role is to like enable startup founders with the tools they need to succeed. And right now, I think there's like, don't quote me on this, but there's like 80 companies here. We were in the first cohort when we came in, and I think there was all of like 8 or 12. So one of the founders that is here now, no names because I don't know what the privacy is around their raise, but
Sure.
I watched them get down to like virtually nothing in their account, and I've seen him stressed, and now he's raising on a $300-something million valuation. In the time that we've been here together. So it's really cool to be in the room with those founders. And there's founders of all different stages. Generally, Series A is where they start to go out on their own and like leave the nest, if you will.
Sure.
But being in the room with these different founders and being on a Slack channel with them and talk to them, and going into these different classes that Embark puts on, they bring investors in, they have the seminars, they have their advisors talk us through these different classes to help us out, help us learn the language of venture and learn the language of startups has been phenomenal and amazing. I didn't meet Eric and Emily through them. I actually met them through a joint contact, but they saw Embark Collective, and that's when Emily was like, I want to be there too. So
Good.
So that was my next question. Embark provides resources for Bobby and Paypixl, i.e., Emily and Eric can take advantage of those resources as well as a part of Paypixl. They can go
Yep.
to those conferences and in the mud with you guys.
with the exception of founders only, like there are events where there's like founders or CEO only access to investors where it's a closed room, closed session, no cameras, and I love those. But most 90% of what they do is open to everybody as long as you have that access to membership, and Emily does.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've already been
Cool.
to a couple of those workshops, and they've been super helpful, very eye-opening. So I can't wait to attend more of those. Yeah, all those resources are fantastic opportunities in order for me to help Bobby and the rest of the team take Paypixl to the next level.
I like the way she says
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's interesting. You as an engineering student taking on this task of customer engagement. I mean, there's no correlation,
True.
I would imagine. So,
I do
Go ahead.
have my bachelor's in marketing, So
Oh,
that
okay.
is where my experience comes
Oh.
in terms of customer relations and customer service.
How long
Well, there you
ago
have it.
did you get your marketing degree?
So I finished my marketing degree in March of 2018, and then I just
Okay.
started this engineering track in August of 2020, just a few months ago.
Okay. Because I would imagine that marketing tactics are changing um, at an exceptional rate. So you're only 3 years displaced. Um, you know, thinking about me and Brandon going through marketing class back in the late 80s. Not really.
Well,
It,
me, I
it's
graduated in the '90s, so
fair enough. You know,
I don't think Emily and Eric were born yet.
I'm sure the basis of it is the same, but the tactics are probably changing very quick.
Oh,
And keeping up with
absolutely.
that, I can only
As I
imagine.
was speaking about earlier with Instagram, for example, all those algorithms are ever changing. And so, as a small business owner, as a social media influencer, you have to keep adapting yourself and recreating your personality in order to bring yourself forward and
Man,
become more discoverable to your demographic.
it's insane what's happening now with this marketing space, and you're right, it's ever changing. I don't understand it. I can't get it. That's why we hire folks like you, because we don't know how to do it. Like, it's
I'm
nuts.
still trying to figure things out myself, but it's
Yeah,
a learning journey, right?
sure,
And if you're not
absolutely,
learning, you're not growing.
Yep.
very true.
And executing on the ideas is a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah, it is big
That's
time.
that can be the hardest part. It's not easy. Um, but Emily, Bobby, is there anything that we didn't bring up or discuss that you guys would have liked to touch on before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. I could talk briefly. It doesn't have to be on here. You can edit out this, but even talking to Brandon about like what the strategy moving forward for this round is, and
Yeah.
what we intend to do. But we can talk about that real briefly, and you can decide to put it in or not.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so I'll talk to you, Brandon, directly.
Sure.
So in this round, we're, if you want to put a name to it, pre-seed angel round. There's not really a round per se, and we're seeing this trend of like if there's a round with a close date and like creating FOMO, it's really difficult to even raise at that point. Everything after
Yeah.
COVID is kind of weird. So what we've done is we actually just created an angel list roll-up vehicle, and we're talking to both pre-seed venture capital firms and angel syndicates as well. And we're going after these angel syndicates where we see their LPs specifically through angel lists, and I'll go and exploit them, and I'll look at the individual investors that are in there. So I know those investors have a specific interest in that syndicate, and I'll extract those out and say, okay, I want this person. We'll do a little bit of a background on them, and then so we can formulate a direct message out to them.
Yep.
But the strategy with the roll-up vehicle, have you heard of them yet?
No.
Roll-up vehicle is awesome. Right now, we've got 14 lines on our cap table, and we've raised $300,000. That's like
That's
so
great.
East Coast. It's not even funny. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's like West Coast. You might have like 2 lines or 3 lines at best for $300K in the early
Jeez.
stages. East Coast, it's like a lot, and we're there. So the roll-up vehicle allows us to take small checks from investors and compile them. I wish we had done it in the friends and family round, but you can compile them, and there's they just go in. They like everything's electronic. They can sign the
Sure.
safe. They put in their capital, and it just adds up. We can have 30 to 100 investors. I don't know if there's a limit, but
Yeah.
at the end, we take out one amount. We pay $8,000. We can go either we pay it or the investors pay it, and they split it up. We're going to decide we pay it. So that ends up in one line in the cap table, which is super clean. It distributes it out.
Exactly.
Angel List handles
They take
all
care
the
of it.
management. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to these angels, and we're going to say, hey, this is what we're doing. Hopefully get quick checks, sign up their RUV, and then we're still, like I said, talking to the angels where we kind of create FOMO. We say there's $650K in this round that we're raising on a $5 mil cap with a 20% discount on a safe. So as that starts to fill up, you ideally have a little bit of FOMO there, and we're looking for
Yeah.
like, it would be really nice to get a syndicate that comes in for like 150 to 250 to finish out the round, because I doubt
Sure.
we're going to get that earlier on. So we are talking next week to our ideal fund. I won't mention any names because it's knock on wood. I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no doubt.
they're awesome, and we had really good intros to them, warm intros from an advisor and another investor in the company. So that's the strategy moving forward. Ideally we can close within a 3-month period and have the 650 that we need to raise. But so that's what we're doing moving forward.
Okay. Very good. Things
So-
are moving. That's the important part. Moving forward, not backward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So we'll see. To be continued. Maybe in the next time we talk, we're building or just about to launch.
Awesome. Good to hear, brother.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
It's
your
exciting.
time. Can't wait for it to be more exciting.
Oh,
Right.
me neither.
Yeah.
She's excited. Wow.
Yeah, good.
That's awesome to have someone that excited on the team. That's not the founder. That's great, because that was true joy right there.
It
I'm
was.
trying to get my drone pilot license too. My Part
Oh.
107, and sometime in the
107.
future.
Nice. Very nice.
It'll be really cool because there's nothing out. There's nothing out like it right now. This
Yeah,
is going to
very
be
true.
something that is going to revolutionize the way drone pilots communicate and come up with projects. And I mean, this is universal. It's gonna be so. I don't want to jinx it, right? It's gonna be
Yeah.
so ubiquitous. It's gonna be incredible. I can't wait.
Yeah. And that's what I saw with it too. So good. I'm glad I'm in the right company.
Well, I tell you, if me as a founder, if I can't make this happen with people like Emily, with investors like Brandon, with friends like Tyler, coders like Eric, and
Yeah.
an amazing designer like Andy, then it's absolutely criminal, and I should never do this again, ever. It's criminal because you guys are
Nice.
like slow pitch to me.
There you go.
So,
The wiffle
Thank
ball
you.
over the plate.
100%. Thank you guys so much for all of you for what you've done for me.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Definitely, man. Thanks for the idea. And
Yep.
that's all I had, Tyler. What do you think?
Another one in the books.
All right.
I'm looking forward to the future with you guys.
Thanks for coming on
Same.
Sky Pirates podcast.